I grew up in northern Minnesota, about a quarter mile from the Mississippi River, the land of 10,000 lakes. Growing up in the bitter cold and long winters of northern Minnesota, the return of the geese was always, and still is, a cause for celebration, a sign of the big spring. I moved to New York in 1983, but the geese came with me, and this metaphor is one of my life's guideposts. My grandmother, Adeline Ellen Flaskrud Haverland, passed away in 1996 at the age of 90. The wife of Adolf and mother to 7 girls and 2 boys in Depression-era northern Minnesota. It is hard to describe the spectrum of this family in a paragraph, especially my 7 aunts. My heroes, my role models, mothers to my best friends, big-hearted, kind, intelligent, independent, opinionated, bossy, outgoing women. Big family gatherings were routine at our house. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandma, grandpa, friends, 15, 20, 30 people all talking at once while my dad, my brother, me, and cousin Loretta conducted a sing-along. Walking into my parents' dining room on these nights was overwhelming and yet incredibly inviting. You were sent into a loud, smart, smoky, boozy, musical, quirky world of loving souls having a good time and enjoying each other's company. It was, and still is, the most cherished part of my upbringing. However, in May of 1996, all these folks lost their matriarch. I knew there would be a family gathering, including all the joy and music, and it would be fun, but with a filter of grief. The ominous specter of mourning, coupled with the anticipated party, put me in a state of edgy anticipation. But this thinking made me feel selfish in the face of my grandmother's passing, and everything my mother would be responsible for. It's not about me. I put it aside and got ready for the trip. At that time, my beautiful daughter Cecilia was 6 years old. I would be traveling alone for this trip, and I had never been away from her overnight, let alone 5 days. But I knew she and her dad would be just fine. So I reserved my flight to Minnesota. I packed with anticipation of masses of mosquitoes and temperatures anywhere from 20 to 80 degrees. And I tried to get a good night's sleep. The morning came. I got ready, and I called a cab rather than go through a dozen goodbyes before the flight. It was a beautiful morning, and Cecilia, her dad, and I waited outside for the cab. I was hugging her, walking around, and gently fighting off my concerns. As we were waiting, a small gaggle of geese approached, 5 to be exact, and they flew right over us, honking and moving north. Cecilia got really excited and exclaimed, "Look, Mommy, it's the geese! They're going to fly with you to Minnesota. Mommy, look!" As she was pointing at the 5 geese, the cab turned the corner towards our house. I held her and said, in my best patronizing mommy voice, "Of course they are. Isn't that wonderful? And look at that. There's my cab, just in time to go with the geese." I hugged her, kissed her, passed her off to her dad, hugged them both, and jumped into the cab. I pondered the geese for a moment. An odd number of geese in flight is not the norm. It's not unusual, but not what you usually see. I thought about Cecilia's prediction, smiled, but returned to the nervous anticipation. Did I save my flight info? Did I pack the right stuff? Will Cecilia miss me? My mom's mother has died. The flight to Minnesota was uneventful, mostly me just driving everyone on the plane nuts with my insistent need to chit-chat. I arrived at the Minneapolis airport, rented a car, and headed north 190 miles. Somewhere along the way, my mom called, just needing some confirmation, wishing I was already there. I could only imagine what she was going through, being in charge of everyone and everything, and being in such grief. But that was what my mom did. That's how she was. My hometown is on the Mississippi River, where she bends east to west to meet her source about 60 miles up the road. There are 2 ways to arrive at my childhood home, a literal fork in the road. Stay on Highway 169, drive through my hometown, cross the Mississippi and head out of town, or take the back way, the left fork in the road, go past the Isaac Walton Park on the Mississippi, cross the Mississippi, and head on up the hill. Normally, I would take the back way and stop at the Isaac Walton Park on the Mississippi, my spiritual connection to the river where I grew up. The park a quarter mile from my childhood home, where we fished, we had campfires and gatherings, or just sat on the bank of the river and watched the wildlife and the sunset. On my trips home, I would usually walk to the river, say hello, and put my hands in her waters. But I kept thinking of my mother's phone call. I needed to get to the house as quickly as I could, never mind the river. But as I approached my hometown, I felt a tug. I needed to stop and ground myself for a moment before facing the crowd of benevolent chaos. 5 extra minutes would be okay. So I took the left fork in the road, the back way to the Isaac Walton Park. I pulled in, got out of the car, and walked directly to the river and stood there, breathing the air like it was medicine. I stooped down and put my hands in the river, closed my eyes, and connected to whatever force it was that kept me grounded as a kid. I heard geese calling in the distance and looked up to see a small gaggle approaching the river. They circled and landed right before my eyes, about 50 feet in front of me. There were 5 of them. 5 geese. All the way from New York. Cecilia was right. The geese had followed me. I jumped up from the water and stood there, astonished, counting and recounting the geese. They just sat there quietly floating, looking at me smugly as if to say, "Told you so." My grandmother's funeral and the party that followed was a blessed event. Beautiful, irreverent, full of every piece of discomfort I had anticipated, with my mother being the brave person that she was. But it was okay. I had witnessed a cosmic coincidence, a sign. I received a hug from my grandma, from the universe, from God. The geese, my perennial sign of hope. And now something so very profound. I have always been blessed with road signs. I have always looked for road signs, for love. It has never stopped me from failure, never stopped me from embarrassment or from falling. They just simply show up and say, "You are loved." And that, my friends, is everything. Here's my song.
There is an ocean in Minnesota. 10,000 lakes make up a sea, and there are boats and lots of bars. Seems like the ocean to me. There is a river in Minnesota. It runs from there to the shining sea. I spent my childhood on the Mississippi. Ooh, feels like home to me. I put my hands on the river's shore. I hear my memories. I sense the love of the ones that knew what for. Their love speaks to me. I feel the lives of those that gave me more. This is home to me. There is a heartbeat in Minnesota, in the farms, the fields, the lakes, and the trees. You can hear it if you